Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Rock On Studio Live, the web series that puts you one-on-one with all your favorite rock stars, where you not only get to watch, but you can listen and interact and engage as well. So remember, if you got a comment, if you got a question, drop it on down. We'll do our best to try to get to all of them and see what we can do. And do me a favor and click that subscribe button. I know it's annoying. It goes a long way. It helps us all out. So jump on all over it. And you can check out past interviews, too. Corey Taylor, I just wrapped up one with Sam Carter, lead singer of The Architects. They got a brand new record for those that wish to exist coming out at the end of the month. Taylor Mumson sat down with me, and she also has a new record coming out this Friday, Death by Rock and Roll. Ben Bruce from Askin Alexandria, Chris Motionless, and more, coming up on 50 episodes of the show now. So I really appreciate every single one of you that has subscribed and hung out with me through all this. If you're a fan of rock, metalcore, emo, whatever you're looking for, I try to put you one-on-one with all your favorites. And on today's show, one of my favorites of all time, and I don't even know where to begin with them. He's a musician, he's an actor, he's a writer, he's a poet. I mean, he pretty much does it all. And he's got so much of it coming out right now, from new music to television shows and his book as well. Without further ado, welcoming to Rock On Studio Live, the one and only Andy Black.
Hey, thanks for having me. And thank you for listing all of my things. I've always said, if you can't be good at anything, be decent at everything. And that's the goal of my life, is to be halfway decent at a myriad of things.
First off, man, how the hell do you have the time? You got your band, you got your book that's out. Now Paradise City. Has the pandemic given you a time to be like, okay, I have a lot of time on my hands so I can actually accomplish all this?
Yeah, I suppose so, in a way. I mean, I think the first thing that happened was, we were supposed to go on tour like everybody this whole time. And we had a big world tour planned. And I was talking about the other day, I'll never forget, when this all started, people didn't really know what was going to happen. And I remember we were literally 3 days away from going to Orlando to start our tour that we were doing within this moment. And I emailed a few people that, like Live Nation reps and other people. And at that point, this was the day that the MLB and the NBA shut down. And I remember emailing and going, hey, guys, this is definitely coming for us. Like, there's no way this doesn't affect our thing. And they just didn't know. I remember getting an email back from somebody that said, like, oh, this won't affect the touring industry at all. And so I was like, well, all right, well, we'll see. And then inevitably, a few days later, it was all shut down. So what we did immediately was we had started work on the record that will be coming out soon, The Phantom Tomorrow. We'd started work on that on February 14th. So we happened to be lucky that we were in a position where we were going to do some pre-production, then go on tour, then start the record. We just decided, and thankfully Eric Ron, our producer, had the time to just go, let's go full bore into this and make this record. Now, while we were doing that, there was a little bit of time before we could really get back in the studio. So I was kind of trying to figure out what I was going to do. And the first thing that came along was getting offered to do the voice of Batman for Dark Knight's Death Metal, the animated series that's out from DC Comics. And then it kind of just snowballed from there. I had wrapped up the book with Ryan. We knew that was going to come out. Fortunately, I had been working on that for a couple of years. The show had been shot and was about to be pitched. So it looks like there's a lot of projects that all occurred at once. But the reality is I just happened to get fortunate that there were so many things that were in the pipeline, and kind of everything is coming out at once now.
Yeah, man, I was really looking forward to that tour. In this moment, Black Veil Brides, good friends of mine, Joe Cotella and Dead, we're going to be opening up on that as well.
Yep.
It was a rock calendar that nobody could imagine for 2020. And in total rock and roll way, none of it happened. So now we can look forward to this year. Still questioning it. Let's talk about Scarlet Cross for a minute. Brand new single from Black Veil Brides, out now, impacting rock radio all across the country. If you're watching this and listening this, wherever you're at, find your local rock radio station, call them, email them, hit them up on their socials and say, I want to hear Black Veil Bride's Scarlet Cross. Now, this song came out from the moment I heard it, guitar driven, powerful, big choruses. It has that Black Veil Bride's feel to it. Everything I love about you guys in the music. Now, The Phantom Tomorrow, the new record, we haven't got to hear a lot from it. We've gotten the Scarlet Cross. What can you tell us about this record that you think sets it apart from the past records?
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, everybody always says that their newest thing is their best thing. That's just inherently built into like being an artist. But the truth for me is that we as a band haven't been in this good of a place from an emotional and brothership or a brotherhood or whatever you want to say perspective maybe ever, if not a very long time. And that has lent itself to a level of interest in constant work and dedication to this record that this is not to say that we haven't worked hard on previous records, but it has been a long time, probably since the Wretched and Divine record, that we have had this level of attention to detail and almost obsessive over every single part of this album to the point where there's no stone left unturned. And this, to me, if you're willing to put that much work into something and you really care about the craft, there's really no way that it can fail from an emotional perspective. As far as a commercial perspective, that's always up to the minds of the listener. But from our perspective, it is, to me, it's the best record we've done since Wretched and Divine, and it is in some ways the kind of emotional sibling, or spiritual sibling to that record. And so I just listened to the masters. We finally got the first kind of pass of the masters back yesterday, and it's incredibly exciting. All of us are just so in sync, and I don't know how to sell it other than saying I think that this is the best work we've done in a very, very long time. And I hope that when all is said and done, it ranks up there with the best records we've ever made.
I know the fans can't wait for it. You see everybody asking, give me a date, give me a date, give me more music. Is there anything on the back end about more songs coming from the record that will get leaked early? Is there anything that the label will actually let you tell us?
You will see the date for the record go up before you will hear another song. And you will be able to pre-order said album before too long. How about that? That's all. Yeah.
I mean, that's the best answer we can get, man.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. It is very soon that a lot of information is coming out. Like artwork and release date and all that stuff. It's coming. So we're in the stages where now, from our perspective, it's just building the kind of building everything up. But it's ready to go, and now at this point, the record is just down to final tweaks on the mastering end.
It's amazing. You have a great team behind you. Sumerian Records has supported you so much. American Satan, obviously, which has led to Paradise City, which is now coming out on Amazon Prime. That will be debuting next month, March the 12th, if you want to set that up in the queue. Was that a big leap when you started the voiceover work and the acting? Was it something you had to work on a lot, or was it something that came natural to you?
When I was a kid, I had done some acting work. When I was in high school, I always say it was one of those things where all I ever wanted to do was to be in a rock band. But when you're 14 or 15 and you're in the Midwest, it's sometimes hard to find, like, it's a lot of bars. There's nowhere to really play. And so it was hard to find gigs. We'd play basement shows and battle with the bands and stuff like that. But I needed to be able to do things, to perform and do artistic things in the interim. And so I auditioned to go to a performing arts school in Cincinnati. And famously, I was kicked out of the vocal music department and told that I was not vocal music department material. So I figured which, by the way, I did, this is not a slight against the school, but they had me come back a number of years ago and I'm a person who's had some success, and I went to the school. So they were showing me to the teachers and, oh, look who's back. And I was able to talk to the vocal music department director, who's still there. And I said, you'll never guess what I do for a living. But so that was a nice little moment. But
little backhand action. It's always good. It's always good to go back to your doubters.
Exactly. But so anyway, I just to kind of shorten this story, I did do a little bit of acting as a kid. I did like some commercial work and stuff like that. It's always something that I enjoyed doing. Ash Alvinson, who's the creator of American Satan and Paradise City and the founder and CEO of Sumerian Records, he's been someone who's been in my career for the entirety of my career, always been a champion of mine. So he presented this opportunity a number of years ago, saying that he had written this movie kind of with me in mind to play the lead. And then it was just down to, all right, well, this person who believes in me enough to give me this role. I got to work my butt off to get to the point where I can deliver. And so, as far as the acting stuff goes, it's like anything else. I always say that nothing I've ever done in my career is unbelievable or remarkable from the perspective that it's impossible for you to do. I believe firmly that anyone who is willing to put in a tremendous amount of work and effort can make anything happen. And I don't believe I was crapped out of the sky as some magnificent creature. It's more so a work ethic and an ability to put myself into things. And so as far as the acting stuff goes, it's like anything else. I just applied myself and hopefully I did a good job, and hopefully people enjoy the show. I think the show, regardless of my performance or not, the show is incredible. The cast is amazing. And I'm just so excited about it. I think that people are really, really going to love it. I think it's even better than the movie was, just in terms of Ash's writing, and the story is incredibly well built, and I think it's going to be really entertaining for people.
As a huge rock fan, I loved American Satan. I loved the premise behind it. I thought you guys did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And Ben, Ben Bruce from Asking Alexandria with you, another label mate, and teamed up with these huge actors that have been doing this for so long. And I remember I sat with Ben right here and talked to Ben about it, and how he had to amp himself up to try to get into the role by being surrounded by it. And it's so awesome to get a behind the scenes look, because a lot of people think, they don't realize how hard it is to get in front of camera. And even though you're a rock star and been on some of the biggest stages in the world, it's different when you're filming. Lights, camera, action when it comes to television and movies,
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a different experience. Ben had zero experience in acting, and I think that he was extremely impressive in both the movie and the TV show, because he's coming from no experience. I at least had minor training and some experience in my life. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like anything. If you're willing to commit to the performance, it's making a music video, performing on stage. I mean, the reality is those moments, like if we're on tour, there are days that you wake up and feel like crap, and you still have to go out and perform the show and give people the show that they've paid to get. And I think that it's that energy that you get from the audience. And similarly, if you're feeling trepidatious, at least in my experience, and you walk onto a film set, but the expectation is that you have to deliver it because you're doing a scene with Mark Boone Jr. or Malcolm McDowell or whoever it is, it's that same level of energy that you get from walking on stage of like, I need to bring it, and I have to do this regardless of whether I'm nervous or whatever else. So yeah, I think it just comes down to being able to perform in any situation.
Yeah, and for anybody looking for advice when it comes to that, when you surround yourself with talented people that have a passion, that will always rub off on you. If you want to elevate yourself and be better at something, surround yourself with the right people. We've seen so many stories coming out now about people that have been dragged through the mud or used and abused, not only in the music industry, but in television and in movies as well. Surround yourself with people that are successful and people you can trust and believe in. I think that goes a long way. And look at the dedication with you and Sumerian Records. I mean, to have that bond, it's tough. So congratulations. #1 best-selling rock book on Amazon right now. They don't need to understand. And give us a little insight into anybody about that doesn't know about the book. And I know you just released an audio version of yourself reading it, which is very, very cool to get an insight from you. Was this you opening up, being vulnerable? Is it something that you want people to learn from? Or was it a therapy for you to be able to write these books and do these kind of things?
I think it's a little bit of all of those things. The truth of the matter is that for me, I've always felt like my story is one that's I wanted people to understand that there is nothing about what I do that is not attainable for anybody else. And I think that there is this artifice that people put on rock stardom and everything else, that the show is the entertainment and the character that you're portraying is the entertainment, and making sure that people get their money's worth and giving that pageantry and everything else. But the reality of the person is not otherworldly. It's not somebody who just was born to rock the world. I think that some people fancy themselves that way after they've become successful, and they make it like there's no entry point to do it. And I wanted people to understand that I'm a kid from Cincinnati, Ohio. Nobody thought that I would have a chance at doing this. In fact, I was told from the beginning that I couldn't sing, that I didn't have the right look, that what I was doing wasn't right. And we were turned down by every label. We couldn't even get tours or shows. We'd have to play in parking lots and tour in cars. There was never any step in our career where we were the darlings of anybody or expected to succeed. And because of that, I wanted to show and share the journey of any level of success I have is because of a connection with the audience, and that's a genuine connection, and hard work and dedication to making something of yourself, even though everybody else says you can't do it. And I wanted to be able to share that, and also share my journey of, being somebody who I just turned 30 years old, and I've been doing this my entire adult life, and what that's like for somebody to start touring when you're 16, 17 years old, and learning bad behavior from the kind of world around you, and being subject to all the pitfalls of being in the rock industry. And just like you said, I mean, on any level, when you have any success, there are people who want to put you in bad situations, who want to get something from you, who whatever it is. And I experienced the whole litany of that through the course of my career. And I wanted to be able to kind of share coming out the other side of that. So my hope is that the book is informative, that it resonates with people, and that people get a kick out of it. Because there's also just funny stories of being a guy in a rock band for my entire adult life. You know?
They don't need to understand. You can pick up that book now on Amazon, get it as an audio book with Andy doing all the audio. We have Paradise City coming out on Amazon Prime. Make sure you cue that up. Scarlet Cross, the new single from Black Veil Brides, out and now impacting in rock radio. And we also know we will get details of the new album, The Phantom, tomorrow, sometime soon.
But very soon. Very soon.
Very soon. Like now.
Sumerian? Not right now. Maybe just a little bit later. A little bit after this video call.
Thanks. Ruin it for me. Yeah. All right. Before we let you go, just a couple questions. What's something passionate that you're about that fans might not know?
I think everybody knows this, but the obvious thing would be, or at least everybody who's a fan of mine, but if anybody doesn't know, I'm a massive Cincinnati sports fan, in particular the Bengals. I do a radio show, the pregame show for the Bengals in Cincinnati before every game and every home game. And so that's something I'm really passionate about. Everybody knows I'm a big comic book fan. You got Batman logos and things all around me. But those are the two things that have always been my biggest passions, are sports and comic books outside of music.
See, I set you up perfectly on that one because I'm the same way. I'm the rocker, the metalhead, the tattoos. And no one thinks I'm like a sports junkie, and I'm a diehard sports fan. As you can tell, unfortunately, I am from the armpit of New York, known as New Jersey, and I am a I am a diehard Jet fan. I know you know how that feels just a little bit, right?
I think that at least you're a fan of a relevant franchise. Like, even if you guys are bad, people care. Like, my team, no one even remembers is in the NFL. Like, most people just think that we are the Browns. Like, 9 times out of 10, I'll be wearing a Bengals hat somewhere, and people go, "Hey, the Browns," and I just go, "Yeah," because it's just too hard to argue at this point.
But you got Joe Burrow. Watching Joe Burrow play. Like, this guy is going to be phenomenal.
And that was 15 minutes of people knowing who we were last year, and then it goes back to complete. Yeah. So hopefully this year. I mean, look, every year I hope is the year. I'm lifetime fan, born and raised in Cincinnati, season tickets as a kid. You know, it means a lot to me and my family, and they've never won a playoff game in my lifetime, and that's pretty insane. So there's a whole lot of baggage that comes with it, and our producer Eric Ron is a huge Browns fan, and so we kind of get to have a little bit of both arguing about our team because we're in the same division, but also resonating with each other's misery. So you can join with your Jets' misery as well.
Well, if the Jets and the Bengals face off in the AFC Championship in 2021, I will come to Cincinnati and we have to do a radio show together. You promise?
I would love that.
If that ever happens, one-on-one.
There is a little bit of Jets and Bengals related heartbreak in the 2009 season with Mark Sanchez beating us in the playoffs in a game that we absolutely shouldn't have lost. But whatever. Anyway, I could go on forever.
And the final question, I know it's been bothering you, and I want to know if you figured it out yet. It is very in-depth. It is very historical. Andy, who let the dogs out? Did we find out yet?
Yes. No, I'm still waiting. I have some theories. I do have some theories. People are saying the Baja Men, but that's an incorrect answer because they asked the question, who let the dogs out? Clearly, they don't know either.
If anybody wants to know what keeps Andy up at night, it's that age-old question, who let the dogs out?
It's not just for me. It's for the Baja Men, too. We got to make sure that we all get the answer.
Well, Andy, I can't thank you enough for joining us in Rock On Studio Live. And remember, everybody, subscribe to the YouTube channel and set up for more interviews coming up about once a week. Once again, check out the past ones. A brand new episode last week with Sam Carter of The Architects as we broke down their 9th studio album, which is coming out on February 26th. Also, Taylor Momsen sat down with me for the Pretty Reckless's new record, the Death by Rock and Roll, which comes out this Friday. So I will always promise to keep you up to date on all of your favorite artists from rock, hard rock, emo, metalcore, and the 17 different versions of metal, because we know there's a lot of them. So we try to cover all of them. All right, before we go, Scarlet Cross, make sure to request it at your local rock stations, Impacting in Rock Radio. Big thank you to Sumerian Records. The Phantom tomorrow. We'll have details on the new album coming out. Paradise City hits Amazon Prime next month. And don't forget to grab the #1 selling rock book on Amazon right now, They Don't Need to Understand, as we learn more and more about Andy. Andy, thank you so much for joining me. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time. Thank you. This was a blast. And please have me back if you ever want to. I'm not trying to pressure you, but if you ever want to, I'd love to come back.
I'll start texting you crap when football starts. We'll see.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. We can be sad together. Although, who knows? Who knows what you guys got going on?
Well, hopefully we get those dates restored within this moment and dead, and we'll be able to see you live and in person all across this country, back out on the road where you belong.
Sounds good, man. See you then.
That's Andy Black. I'm Elwood, and this is Rock On Studio Live. Subscribe. Thanks, guys. Stay safe.